I am scared to death right now of what's happening in the policy world. I never thought human trafficking would extend to this place where we are right now, where children are being targeted. I can tell you, I used to dream of the day that I'd be out of a job because we rescued all the kids. Now I'm actually scared I'll be out of a job because we're going to lose all of the laws on the books that protect children, because there's a movement to decriminalize these activities with children. And it begins with, I was on the Hill. We met with Kevin McCarthy, with Senator Cruz and others who are going to help promote this film. They're going to do a screening on Capitol Hill. And they said, what do we do? They're not listening to us about the unaccompanied minors. And my answer was, you need to connect that with all the other things going on. It's not just the 85,000 missing kids. You got to look what they're doing in states like Oregon and Washington State and California about how they're about children, being sexualized. I've been doing this for 20 years. And I'll start with that piece. I used to be able to arrest people as a federal agent for distributing the very materials that teachers are giving children at third grade. It's pornography. And you wouldn't believe it. Go look at it. There's a book called It's Perfectly Normal. That's what it's called. And it's like the standard now for third graders. And it's every sexual position shown in every angle. It's maddening. It's like, why would a third grader need to see this? And then it extends further. It extends further when you get into what I call this. And again, I'm actually very libertarian. I think adults should do whatever they want to do. So I know I'm going to get canceled for saying this because my words will be twisted. But what I call this trans foist on children. I have 9 children. A 13-year-old can't make those kind of decisions. I promise you. I'm sure you have plenty of experience with 13-year-olds and 14-year-olds. That's not the time to be making decisions about things that could destroy their reproductive organs, or even actually remove or mutilate their genitalia. It's crazy, but the scarier part for me isn't even that, as bad as that is. The scary part for me is once you start empowering children with the ability to consent to that, there's nothing that you're going to have left. Once you've taken away all the science and the moral foundations that built this nation, and the laws start codifying around this new strange concept, there's nothing that's going to stop you from now saying that a child who's 13 can consent to sex with a 50-year-old pedophile. It's a grooming process at the beginning. What they do is they offer them. It's usually a lure. It's not usually the white van that comes and snags you in the night. That does happen, but that's not. These are business. They're sick and twisted and evil, but they are business minded, and they're trying to lure. They want to lure. They want a cooperative victim. So they make promises, and in this case, in the case in Colombia, for example, that you're going to see in the film, there's a female trafficker. Females are actually more involved than people would imagine, because they make the best recruiters, because kids trust them more. In this case, you'll meet a person named Kelly Juarez. She was Miss Cartagena in 2011, I believe, famous in town, and she had a modeling agency. And she would recruit young kids as young as 9, 10 years old and promise them fame, promise them riches, promise them everything, and then slowly show them pornography. And then tell them that, hey, part of this job is you're going to do what you see in the video to this man, usually a Westerner, who's going to come down and you're going to do this. They'll give the kids drugs, they'll desensitize them. And in this case, they brought them in by 9 and 10 years old, and by 12 or 13, that's when they were ready to provide them to be raped for money. On the whole, I don't like what I'm seeing when kids can consent to this. The scary part, I told you about the PNVD. I'm publishing a book that will come out in a few months called The Child Trap: The Hidden Agenda to Enslave Our Children in the Name of Liberating Them. The PNVD, that political party from Holland, their sister organization is the NAMBLA. Have you heard of the North American Man-Boy Love Association? They have doctrines. They have platforms. They've been peddling these platforms for decades. And there's 5, I call them the PNVDs. The PNDs, the Pedophile Network Doctrines. It's things like sexualize kids, let them liberate themselves by giving them pornography. 2, take parents out of the equation. The parents don't know, that the state knows best what should be done with the kids. 3, take God out of education, morals out of education. That gets in the way. Legalize child pornography. And also the 5th one is compromise the LGBT community And if they won't be compromised, if they won't allow us to join them, Gianna, you mentioned this, they want to change the name pedophile to minor attracted persons, because what their dream is to see, they want LGBTQ MAP. Their doctrine says if the LGBT community won't allow us in, then demonize them. One of my closest allies in this fight is a group called Gays Against Groomers, where it's the LGBT community saying, no, we're not going to, pedophiles aren't welcome here, you know? And so once you see what's happening with all these different these elements, and then add it to the 85,000 children at the board, I mean, kids are being targeted in what I call spiritual warfare, like nothing we've ever seen before. So I've had to divert a lot of my attention away from rescue operations, and my focus is actually this right now, is trying to, and this is why, you know, PragerU is such a great ally, and because we're supporting each other in this and others. We need to wake people up to the fact that our kids are really, really in danger. And again, that's why I say my fear that I won't have a job anymore is because I think it's possible that we're going to start losing laws. The very laws that I need to do my job are going to be stripped away or watered down, so that children, in the name of liberating them, are actually going to find themselves enslaved.